How can I assess if my partner has anxious attachment on the first date? Well, here are 10 clues to look out for. Now, is it possible to determine if you have a partner with anxious attachment style on the first date? I would be hesitant to suggest that you can know anybody's attachment style for sure after only one date. It usually takes the nervous system about 3 to 6 months to really start to perceive true attachment threats, and that is when you start to see how their attachment style will manifest in earnest. But there are some yellow flags that you might want to monitor and see if it ultimately points to something more concerning down the line. So in this segment, I'm going to offer 10 clues that your partner might be anxious, which you might observe as early as the first date. Now be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications so that you can check out the first part of this video series when I offer 10 clues that your partner might be avoidant. Now, my goal with today's segment is not to create too much hyper-analysis on the first date, nor is it to stigmatize anxious individuals, but instead to give you some tips and tools to help you maintain a secure orientation and a balanced approach to dating from the onset. Now, recognizing attachment behaviors allows us to build relationships grounded in trust, open communication, and shared vulnerability. Knowing if your partner leans anxious allows you to understand their communications and their behaviors in an empathic and well-informed light. Now, today's tips are derived from my Attachment 101 courses, which have helped many of my students approach the dating experience with increased self-trust, confidence, and resiliency, while learning how to have fun and treat it like a creative self-discovery process. But you do not have to take my word for it. When Kairi joined my course, she was struggling with feeling intense anxiety around dating and worried that she kept coming off as too strong too soon. After taking my course, however, Kairi found an incredible partner whom she described as her unwavering rock in the midst of life's storms. But I'll let Kairi speak for herself. Have you had an opportunity to practice any of the skills you've learned in your life?
Absolutely. It's quite soon after I finished the course. I went into a relationship. He's an amazing, secure man who is my rock in the storm, who I can depend on. But he always comes and tells me that the relationship is not amazing because of who I am, but because you and I, we both are people who take care of our needs and express ourselves fully. And I guess he's right, because a relationship is so much different when you have been focusing on yourself. You're no longer preoccupied with the other person or having a relationship, but you focus more on who you are, what you have to offer. And I feel secure in this relationship. For the first time in my life, I feel secure.
Now, if you'd like to experience results like these, a link to my Attachment 101 courses is attached to this video. When you click on that link, you will be taken to a quick and easy 4-question quiz to help you determine your attachment style and pair you with the course that is correct for you. You'll also receive a personalized explanation for your attachment style's strengths, struggles, and growth challenges, along with a special offer. In the meantime, let's dive deeper into our topics for today, which are also derived from my Attachment 101 courses. So what is anxious attachment, and how is this demonstrated in relationships? Individuals with anxious attachment often crave closeness and reassurance, but fear that these won't be reciprocated. This can lead to behaviors like excessive communication, seeking validation, or becoming preoccupied with the relationship's future. But when they feel more secure, these behaviors can lessen, allowing the relationship to thrive. If you can perceive their anxiety, you can know better how to create that sense of safety for them from the start. So with that, let's dive into the 10 signs of anxious attachment on the first date. Number 1 is eager to please. Individuals with anxious attachment often try very hard to make a good impression on the first date, going out of their way to be accommodating and agreeable. They might excessively compliment you, agree with everything that you say, or even avoid sharing their own personal preferences in an effort to ensure that you like them. Although this approach can sometimes backfire because it can sometimes come across as inauthentic or create an imbalance in the relationship from the start. The second sign is seeking immediate validation. So on a first date, an anxious partner might frequently seek validation, asking questions like, "Are you having a good time? Are you sure you like it here? Or am I what you expected? This need for instant reassurance is a reflection of an underlying insecurity and a fear of rejection. They might struggle to feel confident in their own worth and as a result look to you for affirmation that they are liked and valued. This behavior is really a way for them to manage their anxiety about the potential outcome of the date, but it can also create a dynamic where they rely heavily on external validation to feel secure. Sign number 3, preoccupation with the future. Anxious individuals often become preoccupied with the future of the relationship, sometimes bringing up heavy topics right away before you've really had a chance to develop a rapport. This could include heavy-hitting questions about long-term goals, your past, or even discussions about exclusivity a little bit too soon. By discussing the future early on, they seek to alleviate their anxiety about where the relationship is going and establish a commitment that would reassure them of your interest. However, sometimes this can come across as rushing the relationship or putting pressure on you to make a commitment before you're ready. And while their intentions are driven by a need for security, it's important to recognize that this behavior can create tension and sometimes lead to misunderstandings about the pace and the direction of the relationship. Difficulty establishing or expressing boundaries. So individuals with anxious attachment may struggle to establish or respect boundaries on a first date, often due to their own overwhelming desire to connect and to be liked. They might overshare personal details too soon, ignoring subtle cues that you need to go slower or need a little bit more space. They might agree to things that they are not comfortable with in an effort just to keep you happy, and you would be none the wiser. This difficulty in setting boundaries stems from their fear that asserting themselves could lead to rejection or push you away. As a result, they may come across as overly eager or maybe even invasive, trying to fast track the emotional intimacy without considering whether it is really appropriate. Number 5, looking at how they tell stories and what they value. So anxious partners can reveal their attachment style through the way that they tell stories and what they emphasize as important in those stories. So on a first date, you might notice that their narratives are heavily focused on relationships, emotional experiences, or moments where they felt particularly connected or disconnected from others. They tend to value emotional closeness and loyalty, oftentimes highlighting incidents where they felt loved and appreciated, or conversely, moments when their trust was betrayed. Anxious individuals can also express strong opinions about things like loyalty and can be quick to condemn behaviors that they perceive as threats to relationship security, such as infidelity or a lack of commitment. This focus on loyalty and emotional experiences indicates their deep-seated need for connection and stability. And they might frequently seek your opinion on these things, looking for some kind of validation or reassurance that their values are shared and that their feelings are understood, reflecting their underlying anxiety about truly being valued and accepted in relationships. Number 6, over-apologizing. Anxious individuals often have a tendency to over-apologize, even for minor things or situations that don't require an apology. On a first date, you might notice them frequently saying sorry for small mistakes, perceived inconveniences, or even for just no apparent reason at all. This over-apologizing behavior is driven by their fear of upsetting you or causing any disruption that could jeopardize the budding connection. They may be overly concerned with ensuring that you're comfortable and happy to the point where they apologize preemptively for things that haven't even happened. And while this can be a sign of consideration and politeness, it could also indicate an underlying insecurity and fear of rejection as they try to avoid any potential conflict or disapproval by taking responsibility for every single little thing, even if it is not their responsibility to assume. Number 7, difficulty handling silence. An anxious partner may struggle with moments of silence during a date, feeling uncomfortable or compelled to fill any quiet gaps with conversation. This discomfort with silence stems from their fear that it signals some kind of disinterest or awkwardness. So to avoid that perceived threat, they might quickly jump from topic to topic, asking a series of questions or even just share moments about themselves that is more than typical for a first date. This behavior reflects their underlying anxiety and desire to maintain constant engagement because silence can be unsettling for them. And while lively conversation can be enjoyable and enchanting, if it stems from a need to avoid silence at all costs, it can come across as nervous energy and potentially overwhelm the other person, making them feel uncomfortable. Number 8, they may have a hyper awareness of your needs and reactions. So anxious partners are often hyper aware of your needs and reactions, closely analyzing your words, your tone, and your body language for signs of something that they might be able to anticipate and meet your need while gaining your approval. They may ask if everything is okay repeatedly and seem overly concerned with whether or not you're enjoying the date. They might see that you're cold before you even mention it. They could sense that you didn't like the appetizer even though you finished your plate. This hyper-awareness stems from their fear of doing something wrong or having a history of needing to be on all the time. This allowed them to survive previous relationships with emotionally controlling parents or partners. Now, of course, it can be a wonderful gift and a show of consideration when somebody anticipates and meets your needs. However, this intense focus upon your reactions can also lead to misinterpretations, where they might read too much into minor details or assume that something is wrong even when it isn't. Number 9, they are quick to commit. On a first date, an anxious partner may express a desire for commitment or talk about exclusivity and the future of your relationship sooner than expected. This behavior is often a way to alleviate their anxiety about the future of the relationship by securing your commitment early on and wanting to know where you stand right away. This desire to establish some form of commitment rather quickly can overwhelm your partners and come across as rushing things, especially if you're still getting to know each other. And while this eagerness is driven by a need to feel secure and avoid the uncertainty of dating, it can sometimes create pressure and make the relationship feel more serious before both partners are truly ready. And number 10, excessive communication after the date. After the first date, a partner with anxious attachment might engage in excessive communication, such as sending multiple texts or calling frequently to continue the conversation. This behavior may be driven by a need for reassurance that the date went well and that you're still interested in them. They may feel a strong urge to keep that connection alive, fearing that any kind of silence or delay might indicate disinterest. That can lead to a pattern of over-communication where they seek immediate feedback on how you feel about them and the date. While it is a perfectly normal and secure behavior to contact your date and let them know that you enjoyed your time and would like to make a plan for a second date, it can be a little overwhelming and apply a lot of pressure if you text them constantly, and it can wind up pushing them away. Now, these signs don't necessarily mean that someone is anxious, but they can be useful indicators of a person's capacity to show up to the dating process with a sense of ease, trust, and playfulness. And if you notice several of these behaviors, it might be worth taking your time to assess whether this person is capable of meeting your needs for things like personal space, or taking your time to get to know someone. You would also be well served to invest in learning more about attachment styles in general and how your attachment style might interact with others to affect the growth and evolution of your relationships. Because if it's a pairing of two insecure attachment styles, there are 3 predictable patterns in conflict that are likely to arise as early as the first 3 months of dating. To learn more about this, check out my YouTube video, Healing 3 Conflict Styles in Anxious Avoidant Relationships. Now, if you have determined that your partner is likely to have anxious attachment style, then I also recommend you check out my video, 6 Signs of an Anxious Partner and 6 Tips to Embrace It. Now, if you know that you're already ready to invest in a proven roadmap to help you feel more secure and attract loving partners, click on the link attached to this video and take the quick and easy attachment style quiz. This will help you determine your attachment style while providing a personalized explanation of your attachment style strengths, struggles, and growth challenges, along with a special offer on the attachment course that is right for you. So with that, let's wrap this up with some final thoughts. Anxious attachment is often misunderstood. Many people assume it means being overly needy or dependent because of observable behaviors like clinginess, frequent communication, or a constant need for reassurance. However, the truth is that individuals with anxious attachment struggle with deep-seated fears of abandonment and rejection, which drive them to seek closeness and affirmation, sometimes in overwhelming ways. From this new perspective, we can see that these behaviors are not about being demanding or high maintenance, but rather about self-protection. Anxious individuals are not trying to smother their partners. They're trying to avoid the pain of feeling unloved or unworthy or unwanted. This understanding helps us to recognize that their actions stem from a fear of being left behind, not from a lack of trust or respect. Now, the growth challenges for those that have anxious attachment involve learning to soothe their fears and changing patterns of overdependence and hypervigilance. This includes letting go of old beliefs like, I need constant reassurance to feel secure. If they don't respond immediately, something's wrong. And I'm not worthy of love unless I am proving myself constantly. Instead, we want to adopt new, more positive beliefs, such as I'm worthy of love just as I am. Healthy relationships include space and trust, and I can find security within myself. These new understandings open up the possibilities for building meaningful, secure relationships without the struggles of miscommunication, anxiety-driven behaviors, and a fear of abandonment. And I want to assure you that anxious individuals are not incapable of having fulfilling, balanced relationships. They genuinely desire the same thing that most people do: to feel safe, to feel valued, and deeply connected in their relationships. Achieving a sense of security, connection, and emotional fulfillment in relationships is not only possible, but likely when anxious individuals are ready and willing to face their fears and take action on proven solutions. Accomplishing this includes skill building in the areas of self-soothing and setting boundaries, as well as learning to trust in the stability of relationships without constant affirmation. Now, my Attachment 101 courses guides you through these growth challenges every step of the way using a multimodal and experiential approach. Here are more success stories from folks that have taken my courses and seen results.
I found myself still in relationships repeating similar patterns over and over.
It turned out to be an anxious avoidant trap.
I didn't want to see it. I wanted to see that I was a romantic.
The course has helped me to get really clear about the different attachment styles, which I wasn't really aware of before.
Not only that, but unlike talk therapy, it gave me the techniques and tools to break that cycle.
It was worth it, absolutely.
It really does make progress, real progress, not just intellectual progress.
I have found I have more confidence.
In 2 years, I've gone from anxious attachment to secure attachment, and I'm just really proud of that.
It's always me, just with less anxiety.
Now I'm in a secure relationship for about 6 months with a wonderful man.
And what you gain, you cannot put a price on.
You changed my life.
Again, to learn more, be sure to click the link attached to this video and take the quick and easy attachment style quiz, which will help you understand your own attachment style and provide a personalized roadmap for your journey. I'd also invite you to leave your comments below, share your experiences, and subscribe to my channel for more content on building secure and loving relationships. Your support means a lot to me, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Thank you, and have a great week.